Here's the grasshopper, which is at your feet.
Hello, Jim Matthews, Glasshopper.com. Drop vessels, a radical departure from our usual undertaking, and one that requires your direct participation in the forming process, which is actually a bottomless slump. The mold, so to speak, is a drop ring, raised a distance above the kiln floor with posts. The glass rests atop the ring, and as it gets soft and pliable, sinks through the hole, forming a vessel shape. And that's where you come in. You decide when to stop the drop, when it is just right, and before it plops into an unidentifiable lump on the kiln floor. If you have a window in your kiln and you can actually see through it, great. Otherwise, with all safety considerations in place, you briefly open and close the lid or door of the kiln. Very briefly, because lots of your precious heat will escape when you do, and because anything more than briefly is unsafe. You can see everything you need to see in 3 seconds, literally, without burning yourself or flashing off your eyelashes or even losing much heat if you follow a few simple safety procedures. Because there are so many variables involved, I'm going to make a few very similar projects, each more or less the same size and volume, same drop ring, same drop distance, same firing schedule, but in different kilns. We're going to make 4-inch drops, chosen because many of us are limited to top firing kilns with chambers only 6 inches deep, and the glass needs to be at least 2 inches away from those top elements. Our starting place will be a full fused disc created by stacking 4 7-inch circles and adding a low-volume design layer. Most of the designs are simple, random patterns of Murini, generously provided for this project by none other than the Murini man himself. When I fused my circles together, I did not dam the perimeter, but allowed the stack to spread naturally using my standard full fuse heatwork. The resulting disc is about 7 5/8 inches in diameter and about 10 millimeters thick. Your discs won't be identical, but anything reasonably close should generate similar results. The dimensions are important because we've got to have a wide enough rim to support the glass as the interior slumps through the hole, and enough volume to yield sturdy sidewalls as they stretch down. Of the 7-inch circle, only the inside 5 inches or so will drop through and form the vessel. About 2 inches in the very center will be the bottom of the vessel, and about 1.25 inches of the perimeter will be the rim. No sense filling those areas with this awesome Murini. Now, Murini man, if you are watching, I want you to go get a beer and come back in a minute, okay? For this kind of design, you don't need the Murini pieces to be 6 millimeters long. You can split them with your nippers and get twice as many pieces for the same amount of money. Never mind the fact that I used 1 5-inch circle on this one. Just use 4 7-inch circles plus your design. Here's my shelfie, and here we are after firing. Now let's get serious about a drop slump. I'm going to take this up slowly to 1300 degrees Fahrenheit and hold there for 60 minutes. As soon as it reaches 1300, I'll begin my observation and decide when to stop the drop. You'll need to have a good idea about what time the kiln will reach 1300 so you can be there and be ready. I'll go over how to predict that in the blog post. Here are your safety requirements. You're going to wear heat-resistant gloves. Welding gloves work well. Long sleeves and safety glasses. Pull your hair back and keep your face away from the heat. Make it quick. Lift, look, and close. Don't try to see anything more than you can register at a glance. The larger the kiln, the more careful you have to be because there's more heat and it escapes faster. Have another person with you and take every precaution. All my kilns are fairly small. You'll see me without gloves here because I had to manipulate the camera and I know what to expect from my kilns. This piece dropped fast, spending only about 10 minutes at 1300 due to the proximity of the top elements. The drop is complete when the vessel contacts the floor and a flat spot forms. Then vent the kiln. While the heat is venting, use the skip segment or anneal function on your controller to begin the ramp down to annealing temperatures. Close the lid again once the temperature shows about 1100. The temperature will start climbing again when the lid closes, but that's okay. You've stopped the forming and set the kiln to move on to anneal. Let's do another one. Remember, your stack of circles is going to spread a little, and be sure to account for that. Here's the full fused disc ready to be slumped. My kiln post stack is 4 inches high, my ring is primed, and I've put a piece of papyrus paper on the floor to prevent sticking. The side we face down will be the exterior of the vessel. When the kiln reaches 1300 degrees, we'll start observation. One thing I'm doing different this time is watching the cavity as it forms in the vessel instead of straining to see the bottom. After a couple of peaks, a few minutes apart, you'll get a sense for how fast the glass is moving and how often you need to check. The more often you open the kiln, the longer it's going to take. I can see the flat spot beginning to form. And now the kiln is venting. This is nice. Symmetrical, colorful, sits level, solid. Somebody will love it. Here's the other one. Very comparable in size, shape, and feel. I took a bit of a flyer on this next design. Remember Crater Creations? I made a 6-inch version using ivory and white and a very deep firing gold pink, filling with clear fine like we did in that tutorial. Then I created craters and fired it. The fired element went on top of a 4-circle stack instead of Murini this time, full fused, and finally set up another 4-inch drop in a different kiln. This kiln has elements on the top and the sides. Same firing schedule, first observation at 1300 degrees. All other things more or less equal, expect the glass to move at different rates in different kilns. My fastest drop happened in 10 minutes at 1300. My slowest, you'll see here in a minute, took well over an hour. Nice. By golly, I may grow up to be an artiste yet. Look how thin the sidewalls are. They feel solid though. Every glass acts a little different. Now to try one in a kiln that's side fire only. That would be this piece in this kiln. Side fire only. I failed to predict how much difference it would make to have no direct heat from the top. This one was 72 minutes between first observation and the venting of the kiln. Something else went wrong too. The drop ring is a little too large for the kiln chamber, but I found a workaround by positioning the setup so when the door closed, the edge of the ring fit into the recession in the door, built there for annealing beads. What I failed to see was that the rim of the glass would contact the top edge of that recession, contributing to the creation of what one might affectionately call a wonky vessel. Pretty, but wonky. What's important is this. The drop was successful in 3 different kilns, each with different element configurations. So staying within the parameters I've demonstrated, you should get similar results in your kiln, allowing for variations in observation time. Please follow all safety precautions. We don't want anybody burned or bald or both, just for a successful slump. It's exciting to participate in the forming of the vessel, and it will contribute to your growing understanding of the nature of hot glass. Have fun, be safe.